Ladies and gentlemen, this is a really important segment. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. President Trump is going to, hopefully very soon, create a new political party, a third party, a different form of the Republican Party for two reasons. Number one, he's probably going to utilize it as leverage against the GOP for the next 4 years. You have Ben Sasse, Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski said she didn't even vote for President Trump. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most intriguing and important news stories that will help 74 million supporters of President Trump regain political influence. The interesting thing pertaining to a political party is that it can be used not only to, end the Republican Party or completely obliterate it. Initially, it can be used as leverage. So Republicans will be forced, the GOP would have no choice but to defend President Trump. Or at least to defend the interests. Or at least to defend the interests of 74 million people who voted Republican, but at least to speak with a singular voice. Democrats have nobody that doesn't fall in line. Everyone from AOC to Bernie Sanders to Pelosi, they all speak with one voice. They make absurd leaps of logic. Democrats lost because of Facebook ads, because of a Steele Dossier, all baseless allegations. Notice that they never used baseless allegations. Notice that the tech titans never utilized disclaimers. Well, this Steele Dossier, caution, this Steele Dossier is pure gossip. Rumor, it's simply hearsay alert. Caution, be careful. Trump didn't engage in certain types of showers in a Moscow hotel room. That's, of course, Bill Clinton's favorite pastime. Oh my goodness, I wrote that line. I wrote that in the Steele Dossier. I don't get credit. This is what they've obsessed over for 4 years. Caution, the Helsinki conference wasn't equivalent to Pearl Harbor. That's what they were saying. Because they wanted Trump to get Putin into a pile driver or something. Because of the baseless allegations regarding Facebook ads. They don't know how many votes were altered, but they complained for 4 years. And God forbid Trump did the same thing. God forbid. Now, there shouldn't have been protests in Washington. There was no reason for that. There needed to be a national dialogue. That's another reason. So the people who did what they did, I condemn. Those 5 people should be alive today. So that did nobody any good. It was an unmitigated catastrophe and political disaster. Mainly the loss of life is the issue. But you have to stay away the next 4 years from absurd message boards. If you feel like you're being part of something, an LMNOP, and if you say, I'm doing a lot of research, and go, you know what? Go to a library and do research there, or read a book, or join a softball team if you want to be part of something. Absurd phrases like, trust sessions where we go on, I'm not going with you. I'm going to Whole Foods, then I'm going to the cleaners, and then I'm going to the accountant, not going with you, and I don't even know you. So why would I go with you anywhere? This is a complete psychological ploy and stunt. People need to get away from that stuff. 2 years ago, I said it was the most destructive, dangerous thing. I told people 2 years ago, delete your Twitter account. For the next 4 years, I would say to you, delete your Twitter account, delete your Facebook account also. For your friends and family that you want to keep in touch with, get their email address, get their phone number, leave it at that. And when the pandemic is done, meet up with these people. But, okay, a third political party would be fantastic, okay? Now, I would hope, President Trump learns from the missteps, so he can use it to revamp the Republican Party, use it as leverage, because he got a greater percentage of non-white voters than any Republican in the past 60 years, according to Newsweek. One article said, well, no, Bush got more, so fine. Even if you want to say aside from Bush, he still did tremendously well. Bush didn't have 92% negative media coverage. If anything, the media was beholden to the early 2000s Republicans, almost as much as they're beholden to Democrats in this day and age. I mean, Dan Rather lost his job because of a news story about Bush that wasn't accurate. I mean, could you imagine the day when somebody loses their job over a story that's inaccurate about Trump? And you've had a great many. Most of these stories are made up. Source says, oh, Trump disparaged fallen Americans. He never did that. There's no evidence of that. That's a baseless allegation, but it's called journalism. And it's in the Atlantic, so it's very prestigious, and it must be true. And Kamala Harris and Biden both tried to utilize that absurd nonsense. That's why almost 60% of Americans don't trust mainstream news. That's according to the latest poll. But you can start, if Bernie Sanders, just a little, like I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I wanted him to get us out of never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. I used to be the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I support President Trump because his foreign policy was fantastic. First president to step foot in North Korea, Abraham Accords, whole bunch of great achievements. Peace between Serbia and Kosovo, economic deals. Amazing, lasting achievements. He didn't destroy a country like President Obama with Libya. But the one thing that he should learn from the past 4 years, keep the rhetoric at a minimum, or the heated rhetoric at a minimum. And back up what you say in terms of, look, there needs to be, back up what you say with a national dialogue. Discourse. That's another thing that he can do. So he can use leverage against the Republican Party, and he can either use it to obliterate it or say, okay, I'll join back in 2024. I'll dissolve the political party, join it in 2024. And that would be difficult, but it could be done. So he can literally just say, hey, we're going to start this political movement, and we'll probably end it, but if Republicans don't change, we'll keep it going until 2024. That would just turn a vice, like you'd be putting the entire GOP in a vice, and Trump could then turn it and squeeze it, doing the same things they did to him for 4 years. The Republicans, okay, this is why you should watch this channel. It's not the Democrats, ladies and gentlemen. It's not media and it's not intelligence operatives, even though they're the culprits. They're the people who went after Trump. Trump was going up against the world, but it's not them. The biggest adversary of President Trump is not the Democratic Party. It's never been. It's the Republicans. It's the Republicans who blame him for everything and who just adopt the absurd mainstream narrative. Well, he incited people, he compelled people, he never told anyone to commit an illegal act. That's why in a court of law, any accusation in a court of law would be laughed out. He's not going to get convicted in the Senate, although you'll probably get, there's already heat that people are taking, that Republicans are taking for impeaching President Trump. The primaries in 2022, anyone who voted to impeach, the 10 Republicans who voted to impeach Trump, many of them, probably more than half, will lose their seats because of what they did. Republicans are petrified of media. They're also frightened of Trump. They're like, the GOP is the most cowardly, inept political party, both on a state level. The state GOPs got completely outmaneuvered this election. Completely outmaneuvered. I don't know what they were doing. But the Republican Party in Congress, it's like you had a Republican president that gave you 3 Supreme Court picks. 3 Supreme Court picks, fantastic foreign policy achievements. You had record low unemployment for most of Trump's tenure. They're trying to blame Trump for the economic downfall. He wanted to open up the economy early on. It's not his fault. The hundreds of thousands who've lost their lives, it's not his fault either. We have a country of 320 million Americans. It's not his fault, and most of the carnage and destruction, or suffering, I should say, unfortunately, is happening within Democratic-run states. Go to the New York Times. Go to the New York Times statistics. It's literally there. I'm not making it up. The states with the most people, most lives lost, are Democratic-run states. 7 to 8 of the top 10 states, in terms of lives lost, are always Democratic-run states, according to the New York Times. A week ago, I checked, it was 8 of the top 12 have the highest per capita rates. How is that Trump's fault? But again, see, you don't have Republicans defending him. He starts a new party, it's game over. He needs to start a new party. They calls it the Patriot Party, whatever he calls it. Whatever he calls it. And by the way, it's not set in stone. A couple people are like, it's already been named. It's like, no, it's not set in stone. But he needs to utilize this as leverage, because Republicans are not like Mitt Romney has no appeal nationally. Jeb Bush has even less appeal. So there's nobody waiting in the wings. They think they are. Oh my goodness. They think that media will give them an objective, fair and balanced, and fair and neutral assessment or media coverage. Okay, what they did to Trump, he should never have said certain things, insulted certain people. He should never have done that. It did him no good. In hindsight, like, if he could have utilized Twitter in a less combative manner. When it was happening, it seemed like, okay, you know what, that's good. Trump is, he's not politically correct. That's fine. But at a certain point, there has to be strategy. Also, it's not good. They never treated him as a president, but he should have, he should have said, okay, I'm not going to push the envelope because I'm a president, and I'm not going to say those. Even though, people, that's what the image I've created. He should have said, okay, is this going to be seen as a divisive comment? Even if, would this have been seen as a divisive comment, even if, let's say, in an alternate reality, media were objective? He should have thought in terms of that kind of. So if he wanted to go after a certain person, it had to be like, it should have been, look, in this country, unfortunately, politicians are judged by their words and the perception, their image, the public relations around them. That's why Lisa Murkowski and Mitt Romney and Ben Sasse and all of these people, Richard Burr, Kelly Loeffler, all of these people, all of these people are establishment Republicans. They're establishment Republicans, never Trumpers, or they pretend not to be never Trumpers. But they say, well, the media is completely against us, so we don't want to we don't want to receive the Trump treatment. But see, it's true that President Trump made missteps, but all Republicans now are being, like, the media is firmly as an extension of the Democratic Party. They're just good. They would treat Jeb Bush or Mitt Romney, they would make the same allegations of any Republican, because now they're going after just simply conservatives. There was an uproar for Ben Shapiro to be published in Politico, okay? For a long time, Ben Shapiro was an ever-Trumper. And there's nothing like, they would just go after any Republican. So the censorship, the suppression, all of this, it's happening because Republicans don't fight back. Like, what I mean by that is not just peacefully and legally, obviously, my God almighty, but they don't utilize logical and reasonable arguments against Democrats. They just accept the hyperbole and the apoplectic, hysterical media assaults. Like, so Trump incited and compelled with his words. He never told anyone to do anything. He never told anyone to commit any illegal act. It'd be nice if a Republican would, defend Trump. Look what happened to Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz. What Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz should do is actually try to explain to the people that are outraged that they would defend Trump why they defended Trump. Why did you defend President Trump? Well, Peter Navarro report, whatever. Have a dialogue. Have a discussion. Because Lord knows Democrats made baseless claims for 4 years. And they were okay with it. So if the pushback is, well, these are baseless claims, well, then just explain, well, they need to be investigated, number one, because however Josh Hawley, there's a reason Josh Hawley defended Trump. There's a reason Ted Cruz defended Trump. Maybe they should tell the world, so then they don't continue to take heat from media and Democrats that say, okay, well, they're taking a victory lap every day. But see, there's cracks already. They're already losing political influence. It's kind of interesting. If you watch Tim Pool and Stick Sextonhammer and others, Brandon Tatum, Anthony Bryan Logan, you can see Democrats are already there's cracks in the armor already. It's kind of interesting. It's only been 2-3 days. Give me your thoughts below. I can't wait till President Trump starts a new political party. I know I'm not a Republican, so what do I care about the Republican Party? I want an end to counterinsurgency conflicts. I want Americans home from never-ending wars. That's why I went from Bernie to President Trump. Give me your thoughts below. That's one of the reasons. And I love what President Trump did in terms of foreign policy. The Abraham Accords alone were one of the greatest foreign policy achievements of any president. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. Get this segment viral. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. Ladies and gentlemen, in a couple of weeks, I will be starting my live streams again. And I'm working on a fantastic project that you all will love. So Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, my two moderators, God bless you both. I love you both. Be starting live streams hopefully in a couple of weeks. Thanks, everybody.